Welcome to Asia Society Hong Kong Center. I am Alice Mong, the Executive Director of this Asia Society Hong Kong Center, and I'm delighted to welcome all of you to our wonderful exhibition sculpture that's opening today and lasting until end of April, and hopefully with possible extension. And we're delighted that we're partnering with Hong Kong Art Gallery Association, and we're really grateful to 18 galleries to loan us 21 wonderful works to be indoor and outdoor at this historical site. And we're very grateful for the partnership with the Hong Kong AGA. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. I'm Henrietta. How are you guys? We want to thank you very much for tuning in for this Docent Tour of the exhibition. We're delighted today to be, as Alice said, to be joining hands and present to you this wonderful exhibition with amazing lineup of artists, including all these different artists from France, from Mexico, from Bosco, Sodi, to artists like Vervoordt, and Hong Kong artists Fung-yi, and other Chinese artists like 𝐜𝐿. We have been able to put together this wonderful exhibition on the grounds of this heritage site in Asia Society just within like 6 to 7 weeks of the hard work of your team and our team. So the purpose of this exhibition is to allow all of you to take your time to come at your own pace and to enjoy the outdoor environment with fresh air and in good weather, right? And in Hong Kong, given this very challenging circumstances, it's really hard to find a place where we can enjoy fresh air and enjoy some nice artwork. So we must thank you again.
Thank you, Henrietta.
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
This work is called Venus Ascending by Peter Shire. Peter is a founding member of the Memphis Group, the postmodern radical design collective that was based in Milan. In this work, the artist explores the traditional theme of female goddess through slightly unconventional materials such as stainless steel. Instead of a figurative representation of the human body, the work resembles an abstract tree with red branches, black and white leaves, and golden peaches. Why peaches? Peaches, as fruits of summer, symbolizes the artist's childhood days and nostalgia. Also, peaches has long-standing been a symbol of auspicious meaning in Chinese cultural context. This represents the artist's long interest in exploring cultural significances in his works. And also, peaches here have an erotic symbol of desire, which links to the theme of female goddess in this work. We would highly recommend visitors to walk around the sculpture and see the transformative elements of this work. It has different shapes and space depending on where you stand to see the work, which is Peter's constant exploration of composition and design.
Our gallery is presenting Italian artist Matteo Pugliese Beetles sculptures. This Beetles series is inspired by Matteo's childhood memories. When he was young, he was very fascinated with the beetles because they have a lot of different colors, forms, and vast variety. To him, the beetles seems to be tough, but yet they are very fragile, which represent human in a certain extent. At the same time, during his childhood, he loved to collect tiny objects, which were very famous and popular in the 1970s. For example, you can see this is a very famous football board game playing, and here is the Japanese robot cartoon, which was very famous at that time. Now they are embedded in the ceramic shell of this Beetles series. This series is a tribute to his childhood memories, and then is represented in his very excellent craftsmanship of the tradition of classical sculpture.
Take Me to Fly depicts a lively interaction between a romantic couple, a chubby woman flying along with an athletic man holding her by the arm, guiding her along. This scene portrays a humorous narrative while playing with contrasting forms, which are all key elements to Hongfei's sculptures within his celebrated Chubby Woman series. She uses the sculptural body to comment on social and aesthetic concerns, reflecting his ideas in an aesthetic form. These sculptures do not depict a real overweight woman, but they are actually works of art produced through spiritualization. Even though many of his works are nude, they do not have an uncomfortable tone. This is because they represent an ideology, concept, judgment, and intellectual thought. For Xu, mediation is essential. His agency finds expression through his artworks, reflecting his belief about himself. Xu once expressed that an artist should stay true to himself and create art that frees the soul.
This special art piece is from Jumaldi Alfi, Indonesian artist. When he created this was like 2012 after the big eruption from Merapi. The title is called Monument. It's representing survivor during 2012 Mount Merapi eruption in Central Java. What Alfi want to say is survivor. And can you imagine the rock can grow a cactus? Because anything can happen. We have to be strong. We have to believe in, and everything can grow.
So here we have a very interesting and curious looking sculpture by a Cuban artist called Yoan Capote. The work is titled Nostalgia, dated 2013, and it is a bronze cast of a real suitcase that Capote used and carried when he left Havana for New York City. So very much similar to a lot of Capote's works, this piece, Nostalgia, addresses the condition of human psychic in relation to the issues of migration and identities. Filled with the bricks that Capote found near his residency in Manhattan, Capote deprived the suitcase of its original meaning of lightness and travel and mobility. Instead, its new gain weight and heaviness refers to the baggage that we all carry in lives.
Hi, this is Mariko from Axel Vervoordt Gallery. So this clay sculpture is made by our Mexican artist Bosco Sodi. His work is all about embracing the quality of accident and chance that artist doesn't have any control. So this sculpture he made in his hometown, Oaxaca, which he has his own foundation in there. So Bosco extract the raw earth from the ground and mix with water and sand to create the shape into the minimalistic shape. And then once the shape is cured, he put it into the traditional brick kiln to fire and mix with coconut shell and plant seed and also wood. So this process really imbues the color, which creates different shade of terracotta hue, also bring out the color of green and black. So you can also see the organic cracks here, which you can enjoy the unique personality to this sculpture.
This is Bernard Venet's 12 acute unequal angles. It's an artwork from 2016, and it's an outdoor sculpture made of Corten steel. Bernard Venet is one of the most important living French artists today. He's a conceptual artist, but some people think of him as a minimalist because his lines are quite simple and his forms very clean. He's most interested, though, in geometry and shapes and math. And that's often found within his artwork in very clear ways, and finding beauty in the simple line.
Hi, I'm Katie D. Tilley from 10 Chancery Lane Gallery. I'm presenting the work of artist 𝐿 𝐻𝐿. His works are figurative, and also they show the simplicity and minimal form to evoke the most emotion. This sculpture is a woman leaning with one arm. She's very fluid and curvaceous, and we feel her very gentle sentiment within this piece. Artist 𝐿 𝐻𝐿 was born in China in 1949. He is part of the first contemporary art group called the Stars in 1979. that showed their work on the gates of the museum in Beijing, and they opened the doors for artistic expression in China. He moved to France in 1984, where he lives and works, and his works are collected by the Centre Georges Pompidou, and he has been knighted with the 𝐜𝐻𝐼𝐻 𝐻𝐿 for his contribution to art in France.
Hi, I'm here to introduce you to Rashid Al-Rayyan's Hong Kong Blues. Rashid Al-Rayyan is a Karachi-born, London-based artist with a civil engineering background. So you can see in his elements a lot of diagonal bisecting the sculpture. As you walk around this sculpture, you can actually see it change because of the diagonals that he's introduced into the sculpture. This work was actually particularly made for Hong Kong and kind of echoes the Bank of China building as well. It's one of the first sculptures that was done specifically for this place. Hi, this is Iranian-American artist Siar Manjani's work, Street Corner No. 2. Siar Manjani is very, very well known for his public art projects. He's one of the first ones to create a manifesto specifically about public art. One of the key elements that he always uses within his work is the bridge. The idea is that the bridge is the thing that connects the sky, the earth, and the two sides together, similar to what German philosopher Martin Heidegger was thinking about. In here, Street Corner No. 2, we see two different bridges put together upside down on each other, with a house on one of the bridges. Seems to indicate that he wants us to be building our homes based on these bridges.
Korean artist Lee Kang-hyo has spent more than 30 years endeavoring the technique of Korean bongchon. He, throughout his artistry, has mastered the skill of applying liquefied clay on ceramic surface, of which, in his perspective, it is just as paper for ink brush paintings. The marks that he creates on the surface depicts landscape that illustrates Korea's 4 distinct seasons. And this piece is called The Sky 31, which is an amazing ceramic piece by the artist himself. And as you can see, it's really giving out a sense of zen and also a very tranquil atmosphere. So I definitely hope when you guys visit the exhibition, you'll definitely appreciate this mesmerizing piece.
We are in front of a giant triple mushroom by Carsten Oller. Carsten Oller's primary concern related to the nature of human perception and self-exploration. In different works that he has produced overall in his career, he is always inviting the viewer to participate and interact, questioning human behavior, perception, and logic. Giant triple mushroom is a three-dimensional collage of enlarged replica of wild mushrooms. Half of the structure is composed by a fly agaric mushroom, Amanita muscaria, which is poison and psychoactive. The second quarter is composed by porcino, and another not well identified mushroom, which present a weathered surface. The artist's interest in fly agaric mushroom is based on their phenomenological and psychoactive properties. Therefore, the giant triple mushroom has evolved from the artist's ongoing exploration of the idea of divided and double, where he uses either a formula of division and mathematical solutions to divide and redivide spaces and objects.
When one thinks of Chinese ink painting, one thinks of Chinese ink brush, inkstone, rice paper. But what if it is made of resin and heat gun, which bends and welds plastics, softens adhesives, and forces frozen pipes? Is it still Chinese ink painting? Hi, I'm 𝐜𝐻𝐿 𝐒𝐿, director of 𝐬𝐢𝐭𝐲 Galerie. Next to me is this amazing sculpture, Autumn Moonlight Stone, by an artist from China, 𝐜𝐤𝐻𝐿. What amazes me is that this work is made of nothing but resin. With the many thousands of spider web relief and tiny dots, the resin is able to stand on its own. I find it amazing that scholar rock, which symbolizes wealth, Chinese aesthetics, inheritance of Chinese culture, is made of an industrial product with the help of an industrial tool.
This vivacious and colorful sculpture was made by the pivotal Hong Kong sculptor Chi-keung who is known for using sculptural installations in the shape of bird cages to explore social, cultural, and environmental issues. 𝐿𝐻𝐻 was inspired by the resemblance of the shapes between bird cages and apples, and started to visualize to bring bird cages, the symbol of the limited living space in Hong Kong, more breathing space, and further extend the creative possibilities. For 𝐻KAGA, apples symbolize health and wisdom, and the color green shows the vitality of nature. So coupling with the floral patterns, 𝐻KAGA transformed these bird cage into an artwork that include blossom, full of a rich artistic language and dynamics. With the use of the cut paint on the stainless steel, this melodious and lively apple blossom tree that can be harmoniously displayed outdoor, close to the nature.
For Man Fung-yi, clothes are a record and carry the history of person of certain places and times. In her Weaving Intimacy series, Man uses the strength of metal to solidify these memories, protecting and immortalizing these intimate and valuable moments in time. In the artwork Weaving Intimacy for Women 2, this billowing dress form shows a feminine side with feelings of softness, tenderness, and sensitivity. While the sculpture looks delicate and light-weighted, Man's choice of using more masculine materials such as bronze and stainless steel to create these feminine forms provide contrast to an otherwise male-dominated art form and a reflection on society in general.
Akihiro Furugaki was born in the Kagoshima region in 1974. He majored in Japanese painting at university, and he focused in Japanese style of ink wash painting and a Kyoto style of painting on pottery. Furugaki is a porter of Sazuma ware. He opened his own potter kiln since 2006. This white Sazuma Yaki vase has a 𝐼𝐻𝐼𝐿 pattern on it. This is a traditional piece of pattern which will bring health, wealth, and happiness to people. Furugaki is one of the few artists who has the 𝐼𝐻𝐼𝐿 technique called phantom technique, and he has developed this technique further by himself to create a much more delicate work of art. With a series of work using gold and silver leaves on his Sazuma ware, and another series of works with silver droplets running all over his Sazuma ware. His works have been highly valued for their beautiful and delicate style in Japan and all around the world.
Here we have a signature work from Li Hongbo's Tools of Study series. It is an expandable, stretchable sculpture made of paper. When unstretched, in its compact position, it looks like a white plaster sculpture of a bust, one of those that art students have to study and draw and sculpt during art classes and stare at for weeks. Li uses paper to make this bust, using his own refined method of traditional Chinese folk art, with white paper glued and cut in certain ways so that it can stretch and expand in different directions like a honeycomb. Now this work, when compact, is only about 30 centimeters small, but it can be stretched to a few meters long and be displayed in different ways and positions. Li started an earlier version of this series when he did his master's in experimental art at the Central Academy of Fine Art in Beijing. And he wants the viewer to break through the limits of traditional ways of thinking, for us to stop limiting ourselves just because we are used to how things always worked.
Hi, my name is Lucy from Lucy Chang Fine Art. Today I would like to introduce you this sculptor from Chinese female artist 𝐿𝐻𝐼𝐚. She is one of the most important sculptors in China. When I visited her studio, this piece popped up to me immediately, as this is the only piece which is not a living creature. Most of her works are living creatures such as people, like human beings, women, children, babies, or even animals like she had like very big elephants in her shows. Although this piece is not a living creature, but the delicacy and the strength of this piece also shows the lightness of life. 𝐿𝐮𝐤𝐢𝐚 works explore the nature of life. Her works mostly use fiber reinforced plastic as the main body and then add layers of paint delicately so that the texture of the work is full of layering, at the same time showing its fragility.
Many of Wurm's works provide a subtle social critique of contemporary culture, particularly in response to the societal pressures and capitalist influences that affect our external personas in contrast to our internal ideals. His work explores the exciting possibilities of sculpture, pushing the boundaries of the static art form to incorporate participatory, temporal, and psychological elements. As an artist, Wurm is interested in conditions that test the limits of form and evoke the absurdity that can be found in the routine and mundane actions of everyday life. For all forms, including our own bodies, can be considered and activated as sculpture. Wurm will also often attribute human traits to inanimate objects, by giving human appendages to luxury handbags, for example, as a way to demonstrate the socially reinforced implications that these objects hold through anthropomorphic forms.
Hi, Kang-hyo is a Hong Kong artist. He's graduated at the Hong Kong Baptist University, and he had his master's degree at the Kyoto University of Arts and Design. He received an Excellence Award in his graduation exhibition in Japan. Kang-hyo, he selected black clay in his art practice. For the artist, the main part of this work is the space that's being created inside the vessels. In using the open work technique, he drills thousands of circles and holes on the surface of his piece. That is to open up the inside space to be connected to the outside environment. And also it is used to capture and gather the intangible elements of such as time, light, and his own feeling at the time of creation for each of his art piece.
La Galerie is pleased to present to you this beautiful sculpture work by French sculptor Bosco, who is well known for his monumental and site-specific art in Asia. The boxer comes from a series of small sculpture works made in his studio in Petra Center. We'll be showing at La Galerie in this coming May. The artist has picked this very special piece for this exhibition. The red Turkish marble shows a vibrant energy and spirit of a fighter. It carries a positive message of what Pulu thinks of the recent collaborative art power in Hong Kong's art community, fighting back and supporting each other at this challenging time. Pulu explores the process by which rough and simple geometric volumes evolving into a figurative state, trying to seize the precious and rare stones this dynamic moment of transformation.